So I'm thinking, just as I go, about life and what life is about. And it's made me think about sex and the role of sex in life. And it's made me wonder, why has nature made sex so desirable for men? Why has it made sex a big deal for men so that the men would want to achieve sex as much as possible? And I'm thinking that the reason for this is that nature wants babies to happen. It wants as many babies as possible. And so by encouraging men to have sex, it increases the birth rate. What I'm thinking is that a lot of babies who are born were not intended to be produced, but they were produced as a result of sex. So it's as if nature has made sex so desirable for men, so that men would have sex as much as possible, and then that would lead to babies being produced. But I'm thinking that many babies that happen were not intended to be produced, but they came about as a result of sex. So nature made sex very appealing for men, so that men would have sex as much as possible and more babies would happen. So I'm wondering, how many babies would be produced if sex was not enjoyable, if there had no excitement associated with it, if it was just an activity to produce children? If it was just ordinary like that, I suspect that many babies would not be born, and the birth rate would be very small compared with how it is now. I'm thinking the birth rate now is quite high because a lot of sex happens, and so a lot of babies can be produced. If sex was just an activity to produce children and it had no excitement associated with it, I suspect that not enough children will be born, and the birth rate will be very small. So I do think that sex is a device used by nature to ensure that enough babies will be produced. And it made me think that a lot of babies that are born were not intended to be produced, but they came about just as a result of sex. And I'm wondering what the situation is and how many babies were intended and how many babies were just a byproduct of the pursuit of sex. I think it's interesting to know that, and I will look into how many babies were intended or not.